Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is a Raid Shadow Legends video. This is the big one. This is their big content drop for the year. They normally do a big content drop at the end of each year. They've done it in the past. They're doing it again now. I'm pretty excited about it, but this is going to be my first watch of this raid video, Artifact Ascension. So it's kind of labeled as their big patch. They've talked to us about it. Content creator chat only in the last half an hour or so, but they're talking here saying a brand new dungeon, a new boss, some new items, etc. So let's dive into the video and let's see what is going on.
Welcome to our new update preview, where we'll be highlighting Artifact Ascension. Hear the name and you'll automatically think of Champion Ascension, and you wouldn't be far off. While there are
no, I did not.
obvious differences between champions and artifacts, the core idea is the same, drawing out the latent power of your artifacts to make you stronger. With Artifact Ascension, each artifact you ascend will receive additional stat bonuses. To do this, you'll need to spend a new resource called Oil, which you can think of as somewhat similar to affinity potions. However, you don't need to worry about matching affinities or raiding different keeps on different days to get specific oils. You only have to get one kind of oil, and it's available in one dungeon. You'll need to be at least level 38 to start using Artifact Ascension, and
level 38 is actually not that high. Think about it. That's about the same time you unlock 3 versus 3 arena. Sand Devils Necropolis. That's a tough word for me to say. Okay.
keep in mind, it's geared towards upcoming endgame content, which will really ramp up the difficulty. As for existing dungeons, you won't need Artifact Ascension if you're already clearing them with these, but it'll help make grinding for artifacts for Ascension that much quicker. As for accessories, you won't be able to ascend them just yet. You will in the future though, so stay tuned. Now.
Oh, so the other dungeon's going to be the same thing, but for accessories then, I take it.
Let's get into the mechanical meat and potatoes. Artifacts must be at least rank 4 and be upgraded to level 12 if you want to ascend them. Rarity doesn't matter, so you could ascend a common artifact if
Don't do that!
you really wanted to. The oil needed for Ascension comes in 3 types: lesser, greater, and superior. Lesser oil will get your artifacts to Ascension levels 1 and 2, greater for levels 3 and 4, and finally superior to get levels 5 and 6.
I guess, if I was being a Debbie Downer, it's another currency they're adding to the game. But I guess it's for something totally different. I guess it's fine. It just, as a new player coming in, it can feel quite an overwhelming game. That's my only kind of watch out, I guess.
Like with Champion Ascension, the stars on your artifact will turn from gold to purple as you ascend. And that's it. You don't
Let's look at some of the numbers here. So 45 to 60, then you get the next level up, 30 to 45, then the next level up, 15 to whatever the next one's going to be.
need silver or other resources to ascend. Just that sweet,
I go 20 to 30.
sweet oil. Once an artifact reaches Ascension level 1, it gains a single bonus stat, and each subsequent Ascension level increases that one bonus stat. Each artifact type has a set pool of bonus stats that it can have, which you'll see in the handy little table on screen right now.
So it's, I don't know how people are going to feel about this. It's RNG stacked on RNG. And I guess that's why, Raid can't just give you the best stuff consistently, yeah? If you've got speed boots, they've got great substats. They can't just be like every time, if you want to roll speed, you roll more speed. Because if they did that, there's no longevity to a new dungeon. Yeah, but the challenge is, if I've got 1,000, probably 2,000 artifacts, most of them good. Yeah, that's why I've kept them. So this now is like, certainly for an endgame player, it's like that next level of, did I then roll what I needed again? Does it like make sense again on top of what you're already doing? Which is kind of brutal.
And before you go and screenshot the table, don't worry. This cheat sheet will be in the Artifact Ascend tab in-game for reference. At the time of making this video, you cannot re-roll this bonus stat if you rework an Ascended artifact. However, we may change this in the future, and of course, we'll let you know if we do. So that's the...
So like here, suddenly you roll flat HP, and does it make sense to any of the other things that you were doing? And the answer might be completely like no. Doesn't mean you would get rid of an item because you've probably kept an item in the first place for the kind of base quality of stats. But in terms of, the next level of how good is it? Yeah, damn. That will be a game changer again for especially for people that are playing endgame arena.
Basics of Artifact Ascension covered. Now, grab your flaming torches and let's delve into the new dungeon where all that precious oil is kept. The Sand
do
Devil's
this.
Necropolis. The Necropolis's guardian, the mighty and terrible Al-Name the Sand Devil, is pretty different to bosses you've fought in Raid so far. He's got
Good.
skills that will ignore your defenses. He can withstand almost any attack, but he also likes napping on the job.
He has got thin legs.
Unlike Raid's other bosses, the Sand Devil is susceptible to sleep, and using this debuff will be crucial to send this devil to his eternal rest. Now, this is where I'd normally say, let's start from the beginning, but
I tell you what, that's good, right? Being able to sleep a boss, having some Hydra bosses you can provoke, you know, some bosses that you could stun. It just makes these other abilities that really are only then arena type abilities. It makes them more useful on champions. I do like this a lot. So being able to sleep this boss, suddenly there'll be a whole bunch of champions where, you know, you can bring them out of the vault and maybe they'll do some work for you. Also, day set potentially starts to get some use.
things are a little more complicated this time, so bear with me. Let's first dissect his passive skill, the appropriately named Rest for the Wicked. This makes the Sand Devil immune to any form of turn meter reduction, as well as all debuffs. Well, all debuffs except sleep.
Oh, Sifi in the front line here. She is going to be OP. She sleeps for fun.
Once you make El Name go night-night, things start to get interesting. Once he's sleeping, he loses this incredible immunity to debuffs and turn meter reduction and becomes like most other bosses.
That might be a mistake, Raid Shadow Legends. You might have just made your first mistake on this boss. Because putting someone to sleep quite easy, and then if they can just be turn meter controlled and turn it into another boss, I feel like that might just be easy. You might have just made it very easy with that change. If they were just like, yeah, I don't know about that.
This means you can do things like poison and place stat reductions on them, although crowd control debuffs like stun and freeze still won't work. This passive also massively reduces incoming damage to the Sand Devil, which only gets higher on later stages. We're talking up to a 75% damage reduction, so your toughest nukers will barely tickle this guy, unless you land loads of debuffs first. For every debuff you place on the Sand Devil, he loses 10% of that huge damage reduction, so focus on landing as many debuffs on him as possible once you've put him to bed.
So I'm assuming, I didn't read the passive in full there, I'm assuming once he's asleep, he can't just be woken up by a hit.
Dreamless Sleep, El Name's other sleep-centric passive, is something you'll need to watch out for as well. The Sand Devil's a pretty heavy sleeper, so he won't instantly wake up when you hit him. Instead, he gains a special slumber counter when he goes for some shut-eye, with it ticking down by 1 every time he's hit. Once it hits 0, or a sleep debuff on him expires, he'll awaken from his nap. The length of the slumber counter varies based on the stage you're on, with it starting at 10 from stages 1 to 5, with it going down as low as 5 by the later stages. That means you've got the chance to land between 10 and 5 hits before El Name gets up to see what's causing all that noise. When he finally rises from his slumber, don't expect to put him right back to bed. He becomes fully immune to sleep for 1 turn after he wakes up. So you'll need some proper coordination to place as many debuffs on him as you can before you can knock him out again. And now, his third and final passive, Soul Sustenance. Whenever El Name attacks, he destroys 10% of the target's max HP. That's right, a flat 10% reduction. It's not based on the damage dealt to your team. Seeing as all of his attacks target your entire team, this is pretty bad news. The suffering doesn't end there, though. Anytime your champions decrease the Sand Devil's turn meter, their max HP will be destroyed by the same percentage. Yikes. But there is a silver lining. Whenever El Name is sleeping, any heal you receive will restore your destroyed HP, equal to the value of the heal. So bring a healer, and everything will be just fine. Okay.
Damn, I tell you what, interesting mechanics. Very interesting mechanics for a new boss. Raid do this really well. You know, their bosses are all very different from each other, which makes the game interesting. That's what Raid have done very well. That's how Raid have kept such a good player base over all this time.
Okay, now let's turn to El Name's active skills and see how they work alongside his passives. His first skill, Rage of the Sands, is an unpleasant AoE attack that places a decreased speed and a decreased accuracy debuff on your entire team. Make sure your champions have enough resistance, as the last thing you want is your debuffs not landing on El Name while he's snoring away. Want to know why? His second skill, Dune Tempest, removes all debuffs on him, heals him, and then attacks your entire team with blades of light and a howling gust of sand. But there's a catch. The damage dealt by this skill decreases based on the amount of debuffs El Name removed from himself. So the more debuffs you manage to place on him, the weaker this move will be. Think of it going from a raging tornado to a light breeze. The heal he receives from Dune Tempest will also depend on the amount of destroyed HP on your team. The more HP you've had destroyed, the more HP the Sand Devil recovers, yet another reason to bring a healer to this fight. Finally, we have Feasting Swarm. For this skill, the Sand Devil unleashes a ravenous horde of locusts, dealing huge AoE damage that ignores shields, block damage, and unkillable buffs, as
They do not want unkillable against this boss.
well as 100% of your champion's defense. This thing hurts and will likely wipe out your entire team if you aren't prepared. Fortunately, summoning a locust swarm is tiring work, so Al-Name will instantly catch some Z's after this attack, giving you time to lick your wounds. Oh, and every time you place a sleep debuff on the Sand Devil, the current cooldown of this skill increases by 1 turn. With some careful planning, you'll be able to keep this Feasting Swarm at bay for a long time. So, how the devil do you win this fight? Timing and team composition are vital for surviving the Sand Devil's necropolis. You'll need several champions capable of placing a sleep debuff on Al-Name, and you'll need to time them just right. Putting him to sleep is the easy part. You'll need to be juggling placing other debuffs, reducing his innate damage reduction, and restoring your destroyed HP to succeed in this fight. Continuous heal buffs and passive skills that can heal your entire team will really lighten the load. Then there's the slumber counter. Bringing champions who can place debuffs on the Sand Devil without hitting him will be super useful, as these won't lower the slumber counter, meaning you can potentially land more hits.
Oh, yeah.
Finally, you'll also need some way to survive the terror that is Feasting Swarm. Placing a revive on death buff on the champions crucial to your strategy will probably be your best bet, as high defense won't stop these locusts chewing through your health. So, there you have it.
Wow. That is a crazy looking boss, honestly. Damn.
Everything you need to know about Artifact Ascension and its accompanying dungeon. We can't wait to see you clash against the might of the Sand Devil, and hope this guide will help you craft a winning strategy. As always, hit like, subscribe to see the latest about Raid, and we'll see you next time.
There you go. That is completely unexpected. I've got to say it. Raid have been kind of keeping that one under wraps. So a new boss, a new way of upgrading gear, and some pretty interesting mechanics in that boss. Comment below. What do you think? Is this what you were expecting? Is this what you want to see in Raid Shadow Legends? A lot of us ask for more content. Give us more content, especially people that have played for a while. The balance of it is the challenge of new players coming in and understanding the game, and not being put off by too much to do. And I feel like we've still got that kind of balance of how long does this game take us to play. So, they probably need to, whenever they do a boss like this or a new bit of content, they need to be thinking, how do we reduce time somewhere else? 3v3 Arena is a really good one. They could just auto-sim the battles a bit like they do in Eternal Evolution. There's a whole load of stuff they could do. But yeah, they do need to kind of keep that balance. But for me, I'm pretty hyped. A new boss, something fun to try out. A new artifact thing with RNG. Kind of like, I'm not sure, but it's something cool to kind of play around with and try and get some better items to help you through other content. It makes all other content easier. Get more stats on every piece of gear you've got. That means all content becomes easier for newer players coming through once they start to get some of this Artifact Ascension stuff going on. There you go, guys. I've been Hell Hades. New stuff coming to Raid. I'll see you later.